Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 79 entitled Spiritual Ego. Well, this is the third chapter for which we already had a first video. They're all independent. This is the second part of the third chapter. Anyway, you can watch this one and after the first one and so on. There is not necessarily any order. Well, today we're gonna continue on some tips, some advice, some techniques to master, to manage, let's say, your ego, and especially your spiritual ego. Why it's so important? Because it can help you to avoid to stagnate or even to reduce your vibration of love, of light and unity, basically. Well, let's continue then. Very important is referring to what we saw in the obstacles and the limits of the spiritual ego, is referring to the syndrome of the saver. What is it? Concretely, the saver is the one who really wants to save the world, and just that everybody is waking at the same time, at the same rhythm, and so on. We are all unique, and everybody has his own rhythm, his own pace. Very important to keep it in mind. So, the most important things that we have to understand is to be at peace. You know, many languages, not in English, but in Arabic, salam, in Hebrew, shalom, in Turkish, salam, in Indonesian, bahasa, salamat, French, salut. All this is the fact to wish the peace to someone. And peace means not necessarily, let's say, the end of the war. It means that you are peaceful, okay? You're in peace with yourself and with people and with events as well. Is the key, the most important. To be at peace means to be in harmony, to be in wholeness, to be in the completeness, okay? So everything is in harmony towards you. You're not affected. It means that there is nothing and nobody to convince, okay? It means that the most important is what you are within, what you vibrate, and you're not necessarily affect and destabilize because of the turbulence. The turbulence can be, the news, the wars, the horrible things, and so on. You know, Rumi say, the real knowledge is to know what you have to ignore. Do you need to know exactly what's happening in Rio right now, in Cape Town, in London, in France, and so on? There is necessarily some murders, some attacks, some rapes, and so on. Do you need to know all that? Not necessarily. If you think it's affecting to you too much and you lower your energy, stop it. Just stop it. So this is the turbulence. If you're not affected by this, it doesn't mean that you are not sensitive anymore. It doesn't mean that. But it's the same when some people, you come back in your village and you find back your family and so on, and they still have the same problem. They didn't evolve like you, for instance. And you are peaceful. You arrive with a big smile and so on. And after a few days, you're affected by their negativity and so on. Keep your sovereignty, your anchoring. It's extremely important to be anchored with your good energy. Have your rituals to know how to reach this, your happiness, your completeness. I gave you in the key, between the key 20 and 21 30 tools to be happy and to be in harmony, and 30 more in between the key 40, the video 40 and 41. Then you choose, even if you apply 10 of them, your life will change. And I swear to you, this is really important to avoid, according to the wind, to be affected is not, this is useless. And to try to convince people, you can give you arguments to try to, but the most important is to radiate, to marvel, to radiate the real divine life and love. Enthusiastic, I say many times, means to be crossed by divinity, by light, by love, by whatever you want, but positively. And this is the only thing you are demanded. You are not demanding anything, but the most thing I advise you is this. And actually, don't try, you give the arguments, you try to, but be yourself, be the change that you want to see in the world. And also the fact that no need to change people. If you are within a universe, you contain the world, you contain the universe, universe, and the unity as well. When Rumi said, the great Sufi, he said, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean within a drop. It means that literally you contain the world. Fractal holographic dimension. Okay? So it means that if you just in peace, at peace with people, events, and so on, you activate something positively within your universe. In the multiverse, we are like a bubble. You have your soap bubble, and when you meet someone, actually, it's like a connection, right? So, and then there is a membrane. But it's up to you to decide to enlarge the cycle, the field of consciousness, like a flower of life in 3D. Okay? And the more you enlarge like this, your tolerance, and you accept people with welcoming and acceptance, understanding, inner standing also, the complexion of people and so on, the more you activate something within them. And they will change much more because you are in peace with them. And because you gave your arguments eventually as well. You did your job, you don't have to do anything else. You just plant a seed of light, it will grow up, blossom later, sooner, whatever. You did your job. You did what you have to do. That's it. No need to convince, persuade, and so on. No need to do that. Just be in peace. That's the most important things. And once again, I invite you to watch Multidimensionality, the video, the series, it's 76. Yeah, 76, the first one and the second one, even all of them. Keep this in mind. This is a beautiful sentence from Sham et Tabrizi, the Sufi, again. The whole universe is contained in a single human being, you. Everything you see around you, including the things you dislike, including the people you despise or hate, is present in you to varying degrees. Don't look for Shaitan, the devil, outside yourself either. The devil is not an extraordinary force that attacks you from outside. It is an ordinary voice in you. If you come to know yourself fully, if you can honestly and archly confront both your dark sides and your light sides, you will arrive at a supreme form of consciousness. When a person knows himself, he knows God. Keep this in mind. Think about that. It's extremely important because the fact we contain people is linked to the notion of mirroring. Mirroring means that we are, as I like to say, we are mirror which by reflecting inspire us muchly, infinitely. I'm always saying we never meet people, we find a part of ourselves that we lost or we forgot. What does it mean? There is only one consciousness, okay, with a capital C. This is what we saw in multidimensionality. Once again, key 76.1 and 0.2. There is one consciousness. Fragmented exist means to separate, to fragment, I told you. And we are just a part of the consciousness, a small consciousness, okay, which is alveolus from the cosmic pulse, the cosmic breath, the cosmic lung, okay? Understanding that this is a part of yourself, a part of your family, like you have some kids and they are extension of yourself. They are not yourself. It is the self, okay? It's the higher self taking more height to understand, to visualize with the big picture. So, that's why Baal Shem Tov, a great Jewish mystic, say the following. The man next to you is your mirror. If your own face is pure, the image you perceive will be also perfect. On the other way around, if you see a defect in a man next to you, it is your own imperfection that you discover. It is show to you what you have to correct about yourself. What does it mean? It means that, for example, someone criticizing you, even if it's not fair and so on, and it's affecting you, and you are upset, agree, and so on. It means that there is something not stable within you. Maybe your ego is still there. So you have to think and to dig into yourself deep inside to see what is not clean. I told you, even if you do a caress to someone who has been burned, it will jump. Okay, whatever the intention, maybe you overreact, or the person, even she is jealous and so on. If she attacks you, the person, he or she, if you overreact, it means that there is something not stable within you. Okay, so that's why it's very important to be anchored and not to be destabilized according to a remark, according to someone criticizing you, and so on and so forth. This is extremely important. And the mirroring is the fact that life is talking to you. There are signs everywhere. And someone, you have a question, for example, synchronicity. You have a question you ask to your universe and so on, and someone on the street arrive to you and say to you, you have your answer. So every encounters are important, bringing you a message. They are all messengers. They are all messages, for the good, for the bad. And even for the bad, it's for the good. What does it mean? How do you know what you truly are if you don't know what you're not? Okay, so if you confront something or someone that you don't like, it's good, because it's reinforce you within you, anchoring with alignments. Okay, just for you to not to compare and to judge, but to say, okay, I was like him at this moment of my life. Okay, so over my inner path, I met this moment, this difficulty, this obstacle. I can help him, I can help her, and so on. If she wants, he doesn't want, it's another question. But I did my best. I tried to help him, and so on. And that's the most important. Sham et Tabrizi again say the following: it is easy to love the perfect, spotless gods. That is, it is much more difficult to love our fellow human beings with their imperfection and faults. Without loving God's creations, one cannot sincerely love gods. So, once again, spirituality is not to be in the top of Himalaya, in the temple, and not to have the violence of life. Watching news, to take the subway, to have the hierarchy and so on, to have the bills, to have the tiredness and so on. No. This is sanitized. It's like the honeymoon that you have in your couple when you are in Seychelles on the remote islands with the lagoon sea, no invoice, no kids, no problem, no drama and so on, and the food everybody is cooking for you. So it's the paradise on earth. But the honeymoon doesn't, I mean, it's not eternal. Then you come back to reality, kind of. The routine and so on. There is the winter, there is the invoice, there is the disease, sometimes there is depression, there is many parameters. So this is important to integrate that and to keep this in mind. But that's the fact that this is part of the game. So the mirroring is important to understand it and to thanks to it, because it's a springboard to reach a higher consciousness, to enlarge your field of consciousness with tolerance and with forgiveness, and to enlarge the fact that there is a multidimensionality, a multifacets of yourself and of the selves. You know, this is the basis for, in Greek philosophy, the dialectic. The dialectic, what does it mean? Dialogue comes from this. Is the fact that this is an exchange like ping pong, and people are not necessarily in favor of the same philosophy, and they just exchange and so on. And this allows both to have a kind of synergies of enlarging the consciousness. It's the part of the same thing with other people in general. This is really important to understand that. One of the most important thing and advice is the golden rule. It exists in all the religions: Judaism, Christianism, Islam, Confucianism, Taoism, Zoroastrianism, Jainism, whatever, okay? I'm not gonna quote all of them. say the same thing with different ways, but all the roads lead to Rome. It's concretely is don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you, or do unto others what you would love they do for you. Okay, so it means the same, and this is like if you are treating the big family of humanity as humanity, as a part of yourself. Okay, if for example a little cell within my body say, oh no, you're different of me, so I don't help you, and so on. This is the whole body. This is, if they are in conflict, this is a disease. This is not at ease. It's the same for our humanity and the orchestration of the life, the living, and so on. Understanding that, and much more, understand, I know it's not English, but it's a new word I created. Yes, we have the right to create new words for a new concept, and to understand deeply, I thought you, is changing things. A good flexibility between alignments and detachments. In martial arts, in Tai Chi, Qigong as well, it's always, very soft movement, and suddenly very strict one. Is a good balance between involvement and detachment. Involvement, I did all what I had to do. My job, I did my best. But then I'm detached. I let it go. It's not in my hands anymore. You understand? This is the part also. It's like rafting, when you're just falling down, and then either you struggle against the current, and it's very dangerous, either you let it go. Okay? And then you have more chance not to have accident than on the other way around. So actually, the fact to analyze that and to put into practice is to understand the synergy or field of consciousness, as I said to you with the bubble. Okay, but to know that there is mutual contribution, mutual helps, mutual learning. Even I have met so many, let's say, modern and anonymous prophets, very normal people, basic people, the gardener, the cleaning lady, the peasant in the middle of nowhere, with no education, with making some mistakes of the language and so on, but so deep inside, and with so many philosophy messages and so on. And, that's why it's important not to have any complex of superiority or complex of inferiority, because nobody is under you, nobody is higher you. Okay? Who knows? Maybe this guy is supposed to be very successful, he has a lot of diploma, a lot of money and so on, like a blah blah blah, American way. And he's completely empty. He's completely, is poor within. He doesn't have any, let's say, smartness of love and of hurt and so on. So, this is not comparable. Very important advice is to be an eternal student of life. I told you, awakening is not a diploma, is not a medal, is eternal inner path. Okay? And happiness occurs on the road, not necessarily at destination. It's the same for awakening. And by the way, nobody will say, I reached the point, because the point, there is pointless, the gateless gates. And so, very important to always have new eyes. You never take the same bath in the same river. Why? Because from the morning to the evening, there is not the same water, and you change in between. You read a book when you are 20 years old, when you are 40 years old, when you are 60 years old, you will not perceive the same way. Why? Because you changed. For example, for meditation, I practice meditation since 2001, and actually I teach it in our retreat center, also in a business school. And actually, I like to go for meditation for beginners. And when I arrive, if people ask me, do you practice? Have you already heard? Oh, no, I'm completely a beginner. I'm ignorant. I don't know anything. Just to have clean eyes. This is important to have this. This is the inner child, to marvel life, to have new perspective and so on. The humility also. The humility is for superiority and for inferiority, because we are the equity of each one. We are all parts of the puzzle game. Very important. You know, very often in our materialist society, we say, oh, we bet everything on having a new car, a villa, and so on. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, diploma, career, and so on. And we some spirituality wants we develop more being, and only to be. To be or not to be, what is the question? That is the question. I know, but I like to provoke by what is the question. Actually, I'm more in favor of a triptych. 3. Having, 1/3. Being, 1/3. And doing and making, 1/3. Okay? Be the change that you want to see in the world. Being is not only enough. Being in harmony and so on is selfish. But doing things like giving hands for little things like helping the grandma with the bags, helping for moving out a friend of yours, bringing him to airport despite the fact you are not easy to wake up the morning and so on. This is little things, but it is practical. I mean, practical spirituality. This is operational prayers for me. Well, and this is part of Gandhi would say, be the change that you want to see in the world. Okay? You did all what you had to do at your scope and so on. That's it. That's already a lot. The reconnection with the presence with a P in capital letter means to empty your mind and to be closer with, to have the Wi-Fi, to switch up your own mobile phone and to have the Wi-Fi, the connection with the incredible nature, giving you some information and synchronicity all the time. But for that, you need to be alone sometimes, to accept to go in nature in the silence. The silence talks. You know, Rumi says something very important. Silence is the language of God. All the rest is poor translation. Keep this in mind. The resonance is very important to be aware of. The resonance is a part of hermetic things like as above, so below, so as below, so above. What it is, the butterfly effect. A little butterfly effect can create in Asia, can create a tornado in Europe, for example. Small effect, ripple effects, also we call it. Small effects impact everything. Why? Because we contain the world. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean within a drop. So the only thing you have to do is to radiate once again, because the more you open up the doors of, and the more you invite and directly people to do so. Let's go further. Humor and self-mockery is also important, because sometimes the universe is giving you a slap, a gentle one. And sometimes you say, I was stupid, because finally I thought she was a bimbo, she was a plastic woman and so on, because I was just probably afraid of my senses, my attraction. Why not? And then she said to me something very deep. She talked about her childhood, or she said to me philosophy and so on. Okay, I will not judge anymore. I say a random example like this. Self-humor, self-mockery is important. To accept to fail. To fail sometimes is a part of a success. What does it mean? It means that, Sisyphus is going up to go down, and I was asking all the time this story to my father, and it didn't change the end. And I just create a continuation. Every time he's falling down, and then another mountain, and another mountain. So when he's falling down here, he's always higher than at the top of the first mountain. So it's a metaphor, like a springboard, and going further and further, higher and higher. So accept to fall down. To walk normally, properly, the kids need to fall down 2,000 times. And no kids say at half of the path, oh, I don't want to walk anymore. I just keep sitting like this all my life. No, it's a part of the game. And when you accept that you're falling down, and then you wake up, and so on, actually you evolve much more and faster. accepting as well your dark side. Don't fight your dark side. Accept, not embrace them by welcoming them. Don't feed them, but accept them. You neutralize them. You give them less power by doing that. I swear to you, it's very important. Being open means to have new eyes to everything, but also I see what I believe exclusively. No, I only believe what I see. Okay, you see the difference is I see what I believe. Yes, I see what I believe. It means that the co-creation, the law of attraction, it means that I attract what I vibrate, and I can see the miracles, then I co-create the miracles. That's the point. If you want to see the law of attraction, I treated this topic in key 36. Yeah, incarnate the density, this life. Don't run away for the materiality. Some people say, oh, the matrix, the materiality is bad. Don't do anything. You just have to wait. And this is, for me, not honoring the living. The living is the good food, the good fun, the nature. This is materialistic, this. Okay? True or not? But it is so beautiful. It's a part of the game. Spirituality and materiality is the cross, just the symbol, and at the end it is the center. Meditation, recenter to yourself. Extremely important. Dying before dying means that. It means that enjoying life as if it would be the last thing, your last day. You know, there is the ritual of the tomb. I don't invite you to do it. It's really for mystical people. This is in Sufism, for Sadhu, the Hindu mystics, and also in Egyptian and so on. 3 days, three nights, 72 hours within, let's say, a coffin. It can be a carton, it's the same. Without eating, without pooing, without peeing, without moving. And with few air. I swear to you, and those who are doing, they don't put on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and so on. I did it, and I don't talk about. Oh, I said so. Maybe I didn't do, or maybe I did. But well, anyway, it's so dangerous. But I swear to you, I know a guy who did it. Your life changed radically. It means that's just breathing air. When we miss half of the air, just drinking a glass of water, it's just delicious. Waiting in a queue is a miracle. Just waiting in a car, admiring everything, every tiny things become a miracle. Change your life. But I don't invite anybody to, because it's too extreme. Well, it's just the part of admiring, marveling life in general. You know, the 3 most important advice I give you is to look at the divine part of each one. Even an asshole, so-called asshole. You don't talk to him, to his ego. You talk to his higher or her higher self. And you activate the divinity within. And you activate another divinity within you. The divinity is existing already within your universe. I swear to you. How to do, for example, you visualize with your eyes like laser of light, okay? And you send like positively and so on. I know it's difficult, but once you do it and you put it into practice, it changes the world. What I can advise you, the second most important advice is everything you have an encounter, you meet someone, you have a situation with someone and so on, try to think, I am in the heart or I am in the mind. Okay? This is analytical. This is love, unity. Every time think I am in the unity or in the separation. I am at peace, or in resentment, in the jealousy, in the comparison, or in completeness, wholeness. I invite you to meditate on that. I hope all these tips will help you vibrate within you, will find echo. It will help you to shape the master key of the consciousness of love or whatever you want. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to the Dome. Thank you for your attention and see you very soon.